Hello, greetings everyone. This is Mohammed Wajid, Senior Sales and Distribution Officer at Muller and Phipps Pakistan Private Limited. Also, I am the student of MBA Logistics and Supply Chain Management at the Institute of Business Management. Today, I decided on to share with you my knowledge of the managing human capital, the knowledge of human resource department, how does it operate, what are the functions of human resource department, and specifically I will discuss about the job analysis part, why it is conducted, what are the advantages and drawbacks of conducting a job analysis, what are the byproducts of job analysis, and furthermore I will conclude with some examples. Let's move on to our first discussion, which is what human resource department does. So हम सबको ये लगता है कि ह्यूमन रिसोर्स डिपार्टमेंट सिर्फ एम्प्लॉयज को सैलरी देता है. नो, नॉट एट ऑल. सिर्फ एम्प्लॉयज को मैनेज नहीं करता. But human resource department is a department which is managing employees as well as overseeing compensation and benefits, ensuring that company is operating at the best culture, employees को recruit करना, job trainings को promote करना, employees की monitor को उनकी performance को monitor करना, and to maintain their payrolls as well, and to promote the learning and organization development culture throughout the organizations. So तो डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स ह्यूमन रिसोर्स के होते हैं, जिसमें लर्निंग एंड ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल डेवलपमेंट डिपार्टमेंट हो गया, ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल हेल्थ इंडेक्स डिपार्टमेंट हो गया, कॉम्पनसेशन बेनिफिट्स डिपार्टमेंट हो गया, L&D डिपार्टमेंट हो गया, KPIs डिपार्टमेंट, रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट डिपार्टमेंट. Next, further on, moving on, how these departments contribute to the job analysis function and HRM functions. Recruitment वाला जो department है, they determine recruitment qualifications. जिस employee को recruit करना है, उसकी qualifications क्या होंगी, obviously. Selection department, selection people provide the job duties and job responsibilities. Secondly, performance appraisal की जो लोग होते हैं, they provide performance criteria, क्या किन standards पे employee को rate करना है, 9 box matrix पे वो employee कहाँ stand करता है, how to promote and how to do the succession planning of that employee. Furthermore, moving on to basically what job analysis is. Job analysis is simply a process of studying and collecting information relating to the operations and responsibilities of a specific job. आपकी organization में कोई vacancy खाली होती है, you have to make sure that you fill that vacancy with the right person and with the right job at the right time and in the right place. सही department में सही बंदा आपको चाहिए होता है with appropriate skills, knowledge and abilities. Further moving on, basically job analysis is a detailed examination evaluation of the job, कि job किस तरह की है, क्या requirements हैं job की, क्या educational requirements हैं, क्या qualifications required है employees की, और उसकी working conditions क्या है. We will see in detail कि क्या क्या required है in the next slides. So, और जो data collect होता है job analysis का basically, that is collected through observations, reporting, through interviewing different candidates and employees currently working in the business. Job की working conditions को analyze किया जाता है. जहां तक बात है कि job description और फिर job specification क्या है, basically job description and job specification are the two products of job analysis simply. And ये job analysis job analyst जो है वो design करता है. So job analysis में basically उस जॉब की वर्किंग एक्टिविटीज एंड बिहेवियर्स आ जाते हैं, एम्प्लॉय के क्या बिहेवियर्स होंगे, किस तरह के उसके इंटरेक्शंस होंगे विद द क्रॉस फंक्शनल डिपार्टमेंट्स, विद द क्रॉस फंक्शनल मैनेजर्स, क्या परफॉर्मेंस स्टैंडर्ड्स होंगे, क्या टारगेट्स होंगे, क्या बजटिंग्स होंगी, फाइनेंशियल्स, कितनी सैलरी उसको देनी है, क्या उसके कॉम्पनसेशन बेनिफिट्स डिजाइन करना है, इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसीज एंड एवरीथिंग, केपीआईज पूरी डिजाइन होती हैं, क्या मशीन्स एंड इक्विपमेंट्स वो यूज करेगा, वर्किंग कंडीशंस, सुपरविजन किसके अंडर वो रहेगा, किसको रिपोर्ट करेगा, ये तमाम चीजें इसमें शामिल होती हैं. फर्दरमोर हम बात कर रहे हैं जॉब एनालिसिस के प्रोसेसेस, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, जॉब एनालिसिस प्रोसेस स्टार्ट्स विद the interview process and the feedback process and gathering data internally from the organization. यहाँ पे current employees को monitor किया जाता है, उनके साथ interviews conduct किए जाते हैं, feedbacks लिए जाते हैं उनको monitor करके उनकी job responsibilities और duties को note down किया जाता है. Secondly, the task is to be done by the hiring employee, obviously. Analyzing the task, Finally, verbalization of the outcomes and contribution needed for the position. Moving on to the details of what job analysis process includes, it is first of all including identifying objectives of the job and job analysis कि हम क्या अचीव करना चाह रहे हैं, कोई existing vacancy fill करना चाह रहे हैं या कोई role merge हुआ है, what it is basically. Preparing for an introductory job analysis, identify हो गई, methodology हो गई, review existing job documents हो गए, communicate process to managers and employees कर दिया हमने. फिर जॉब एनालिसिस हमने कंडक्ट किया, डेटा गैदर किया, डेवलप किया जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन एंड जॉब स्पेसिफिकेशन. हम फर्दर डिटेल में बात करेंगे कि व्हाट डज दिस डॉक्यूमेंट्स इंक्लूड्स. फिर हमने जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन और जॉब स्पेसिफिकेशंस को कंटिन्यूअसली पीरियोडिकली मॉनिटर करके उनको अपडेट करना होता है. तो हम बात करते हैं कि by whom the job analysis is conducted basically. Analysis is conducted basically by the job analyst, outside consultancy firm, supervisor or managers. Let's talk about the advantages of job analysis. Job analysis basically helps the managers at time of recruitment and selection of right man on the right job. It helps firm to understand the extent of scope trainings are required, evaluating the job and the worth, the salary to be offered, the responsibilities that are required from that employee. So, उनकी compensation plans design करने के लिए, उनको fairly treat करने के लिए, organization का culture maintain करने के लिए, ये तमाम चीज़ों के लिए job analysis is beneficial. So job analysis की जहाँ तक बात है, वहाँ हम दो बाय प्रोडक्ट्स की बात करते हैं, उसके job description and job specification. Job description में obviously job की job title, job location, job summary, reporting to, working conditions, job duties, machines to be used and hazards उसमें आ जाते हैं. Whereas in job specification, we are highlighting the qualifications, experience, training, skills, responsibilities, emotional characteristics, and sensory demands. Emotionally, kitna sound hai wo banda? How can he handle those difficult situations? Kitna pressure wo absorb kar sakta hai? That is all about the job specification. Each is a job specification se hum highlight karte hain. Moving on to the advantages of job description. It assists in manpower planning, obviously. It is helpful in performance appraisal. It helps supervisors in assigning work to the subordinates ताकि वो उनको appropriate skills के हिसाब से काम divide कर सके, training programs design कर सके उनके. Moving on to the example basically of the job specification, job description and specification. Job description, for example, for a payroll accountant can include job description basically. Business partner with accounts payable and payroll departments to develop expense develop कर लिया, reconciliation statements को reconcile कर लिया, prepare accounts payables, prepare accounts receivable, identify and implement processes, improve relatives to all responsibilities listed. Talking about the job specification, so he must be having a degree in accounting and finance. He must be having a knowledge of softwares. You can say Oracle, SAP, and everything like that. To conclude, I would like to say job analysis is a function conducted by the job analyst, taking the whole staff of the organization into consideration. In this process, first of all, all the collection of background information is done in which the details of a particular job are extracted in relation to other jobs. After that, the job data are collected from the seniors, juniors, and co-workers. Finally, job description and job specifications are created on the basis of the collected information and facts. So the candidates must possess the qualifications as described in the job description. सही टाइम पे सही वैकेंसी खाली होने पे you should be having a pool of good candidates to fulfill that vacancy. So this was all from my side. Thank you so much. Hope you liked it.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Talha Tariq and my today's presentation topic is sourcing candidates through various channels. So first we will be understanding the meaning of the sourcing. Sourcing means identifying the candidates. Candidate sourcing is the process of identifying top talent that matches your required skills, education and interest for the open jobs in your company or your client's company. Candidate sourcing seeks both active and passive candidates and attempts to recruit them for the role you need. So before proceeding to sourcing, there is a difference that we need to understand between sourcing and recruitment. So as we have discussed, that candidate sourcing is the search for talented profiles to fill your present and future jobs. Although recruiting is the selection and appointment of the candidates. So basically, in recruitment, you are evaluating the resume, or in the sourcing, you are designing the job descriptions for the candidates. So sourcing can be done through multiple channels, including social media, job boards, website, etc. Although recruitment is done by the hiring manager. So we have to understand the difference between active and passive candidates. So active candidates are those candidates who are keep applying for the job which any company is posting, and although in passive candidates are those which are not applying directly to the company's website or anywhere. So basically, company has to attract those candidates through employer branding, through providing them a career path and a good career ladder, and on the other hand, active job seekers are those who are keep applying to the company and who are in a need of a job currently. But passive job seekers are sitting at the home and they are not in a need, and they might be in a need but they are not actively applying. So sourcing is done for not just for the active candidate but for the passive candidate as well. So basically, there is a procedure how to source any candidate. So first of all, we have to attract a talent. So talent can be attracted through good employer branding, good employer image. A company has a good reputation can automatically attract a good profile from the market. So first we have to attract a good talent. So when we attract them, so the second process is the screening of the candidates. So in screening procedure, HR is shortlisting the most relevant profiles, because HR receives a bundle of resume from the market, and they have to screen them as per the requirement of the job. So after screening, there comes an interview. So they schedule interview as per the requirement of as per the availability of the interviewer and interviewee. And after conducting an interview, we collect a feedback. A feedback can be collected from the past employer or reference which is provided by the candidate. So upon the favorable feedback, a hiring manager or HR takes a hiring decision for the candidate. So after the decision is made, they roll out an offer to the candidate, and onboard them and after onboarding them, they literate them and provide them training and submit their KPIs and job descriptions, so employees start performing. And basically, sourcing is not done quickly. It's a comprehensive procedure, and it has a comprehensive strategy as well. So basically, it has a right companies network which requires a Porter's 5 forces model, like employer and employee is assessing a candidate through Porter's 5 forces model, and employees also assessing them through Porter's 5 forces model, because it requires the bargaining power of employer, bargaining power of employee as well. And second strategy is to select a right right candidate, right qualified candidate, and a third is the strategy of selecting a right channel to attract a customer. So there are various channels which is used by employee or employer for to attract customers, which includes publish job ads to multiple job boards, like which includes career site like Indeed and Rosie.pk, and these are the authentic sites which is being used by employees to apply on the job. Second is a build magnetic career site. So career site is a very quick way to apply to apply to any company. So employer has to focus on the to build a good career website. And third is the share open jobs on the social media channels, which include LinkedIn, Facebook, and LinkedIn and Facebook. Fourth is the referrals, like we can ask from past employees and the current employees about the to close a job. So referral is the most authentic way right now or currently, which eliminates a lot of procedures, and upon the referral we can quickly hire any candidate. And third are the external fifth is the external vendor, which includes like outsource HR service provider or consultants, which provide a good employee candidate from the market. So basically, in the last we have a top four channels which is being used by employers right now. The first one is the employee referral. So there is a research conducted by McQuack Global Talent Recruitment Survey, and 450 HR professionals submitted their provided their analysis, provided their responses for this research, and findings suggested that right now employers are more focusing on employee referrals. Like as per the finding, 81% employer focus on employer referrals. Second is online job boards. Online job boards contains LinkedIn and other social media channels, which is responded 80% in the survey. Third is the social networking sites, and which is suggested 76%. And the last one is the corporate website, which has 74% responses from overall survey. So that was all about the sourcing channels, different sourcing channels of the employees. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's talk about screening and shortlisting in the process of hiring. So what does it mean when I say screening? Applicant screening refers to reviewing and going through, basically checking all of the resumes that the person has collected, HR people have collected so far, and checking if they meet the minimum job requirements that was posted or made clear in the job description. What is the goal of this process? It is basically to see which person is the right fit for the job. And there are naturally a few steps to this. It is not as easy as opening up a resume and checking their degree or checking their experience level and just hiring them on the spot. Naturally, you need to go through some steps, and we will be talking about those steps today. So let's go on to the first step. So the first step is reviewing the job description. Yes, it sounds strange, but the hiring manager has to look at the job description first to determine what they have to look for in all of the applicants' CVs and resumes. So we will be looking at all the we will be looking at the job description and what are the requirements that we should be looking for in all of those applications. Second step is reviewing all the applicants' resumes and CVs. This means we will be opening up all those files that you have sent us online, and we will be going through all of those files one by one to check if you meet the requirements, probably like educational requirements, experience requirements, or any of those. It could range from anything from age and your previous experience to as far ahead as what certifications you have done. All right. The third step is initial screening. This is when we will be looking at the little details that you might deem unnecessary. For example, just like I mentioned before, certifications. Some people deem it unnecessary, but it's not exactly the case, because hiring managers and recruiters look for these little details that we might miss in all of the screening process, right? But keep in mind, this is only the initial screening. The next step that comes after initial screening is skill assessment. Naturally, we have to be looking at what skills you have if we're going to be hiring you for whatever job position it is, whether it is a content writer, sales manager, director, CEO, anything. You need to have a certain set of skills, and that's what we will be looking for. The next step is background checks. All of the education requirements that you have put into your resume, all of the education, all of the job experiences that you have put, we need to confirm if those are actually something you have done, or if this is something you have just written down. So this is what we will be checking during the background checks, making sure that everything adds up. The last step in this screening process is the final screening. This is when we will go through the everything we have already gone through. We will look at all our findings, and we will narrow down the applicants that we have. Let's say we had 50 applicants for a job position as a content writer. So we will be narrowing down from 50 to probably 40 or 30, depending on how good the applications are or how bad they are. So there is no set number, but it is something that we determine on the spot. Next, after the final screening, we come to the next step in the process, which is shortlisting. So what is shortlisting? Let's take a look at the definition. So the process of shortlisting is basically narrowing down the applicants that we have. As I mentioned before, we narrowed down from 50 to, let's suppose, 30. Now we have to narrow down. Obviously, we can't have all 30 people for if. Let's suppose we have 5 positions open. From those 30, we have to select 5. That means we have to narrow down the list even more to get to those 5 applicants. Shortlisting is going to help us do that. Once again, just like we had some steps in screening, we have some steps in shortlisting. Let's take a look at those steps. Saying that it is steps is sort of like not the right term. So I'm going to use the term that we have some requirements that we will be looking at, some preferences that we will be looking at, and these preferences include job requirements, relevant skills, education and certification, soft skills, and company culture fit. So the first one is pretty obvious, job requirements. We need to look at your job experiences, and then we need to compare them to the current job that you have applied for to see how well they align and how well you can fit into the company right away and get to working, basically. The second thing is relevant skills and experience. As I mentioned before, you need to have the right skills, the right experiences to be able to work in any field, and so that's what we will be looking at in this step. The next step is education and certifications. I mentioned before that some people take certifications as a not so serious thing, but that's not true. If there's some certification that you have done while you were studying, probably doing your bachelor's or your master's, and you feel like it's completely useless because it doesn't relate to your degree, that's not true. This is where the certifications might actually count. Like if you have done some certification related to marketing and you're applying for a marketing position, let's suppose a digital marketing specialist, and maybe you don't have the right experience for it, but then you have like 5 to 6 certifications to back it up, that's going to get your CV up there and like visible to the hiring manager and the recruiter. So don't think that all those certifications you have done have gone to waste. Be sure to add all of them to your CV. You never know what is going to work. Next, we come to the soft skills. We are not only looking at the technical skills, the technical side of things. We don't just want you to do your work and be over with it. In fact, we want to be able to make sure that you'll be a good fit for the team, which means you're a good communicator, or if you are coming into a leadership position, you are a good leader, and you're a good team player. These sorts of things are what we look for in the soft skills department. So this is usually done through some interviews, one-on-one or video interviews, phone interviews even, or maybe there could be some tests, questionnaires and stuff. But whatever it is, don't just focus on the technical part of things. you also have to focus on the soft skills and the other side of things. The last thing that we will be looking at is the company culture fit. This is pretty simple to explain. um, when you join a new company, I'm pretty sure it's hard for you because you are in a new environment, you have new people around you, and you need to make sure that everybody likes you and everybody likes your quality of work. And if people are not friendly to you, it's hard on you. And the same applies to the people in the company. If you are hard on them, even though they have been working there, yes, they won't be pressured into, it's not a high school that you can bully them and they'll be pressured into it. No, definitely not. But it's still going to be hard for everyone, and nobody wants that. You don't want that, they don't want that, nobody wants that, which is why the hiring manager will make sure that you are a good company, you are a good fit for the company, and the company culture is not going to bother you or the other person, and you guys can just blend and start working as soon as possible, and like basically be friends, buddies, or whatever. But it's important to check all of that. And if you have ever wondered who checks that, that's basically the job for the recruiter or the hiring manager. As to how they check it, again, this could be done through interviews, through questionnaires, or things like that. So that's it for shortlisting and that's it for screening and shortlisting.
This is Mama Shah Chauhan, and the topic that I will be covering today is interviews and assessments in a corporate setting. इस टॉपिक के अंदर मैं 4 चीज़ों के बारे में डिस्कस करूँगी. First of all, why these interviews and assessments are important in a corporate or a business setting. Second, how can we prepare for these interviews and assessments. Third, I will talk about कि हम लोग इन interviews को effectively किस तरह से conduct कर सकते हैं. And in the last, we will speak about how to assess the employee performance. First, let's talk about and let's discuss the introduction. That is, how can we conduct the interviews and assessments in a corporate setting. इसके अंदर हम लोग अगर इस चीज़ के बारे में बात करें कि क्यों ज़रूरी है इंटरव्यूज़ और असेसमेंट्स हम लोग को कॉर्पोरेट इन्वायरमेंट में करने की क्या ज़रूरत है. ठीक है, कॉर्पोरेट इन्वायरमेंट में इंटरव्यूज़ डेफिनेटली आर इम्पोर्टेंट बिकॉज हमें सबसे पहले तो ये पता चलता है कि कंपनी में अगर कोई पोटेंशियल कैंडिडेट की ज़रूरत है, कोई वैकेंसी खाली है और उसमें किसी कैंडिडेट को हम लोग को हायर करना है तो उसकी क्या रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं. ठीक है, और उस जॉब ओपनिंग के लिए हम लोग किस तरह से उस कैंडिडेट को आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं. ठीक है. सेकेंड, इफ़ वी टॉक अबाउट why the assessments are important in an organization, that is because without an assessment हम लोग अपने existing employees को evaluate नहीं कर सकते, और जब तक उनकी performance evaluate नहीं होगी तब तक management जो है उनके appraisals के ऊपर और उनकी promotions के ऊपर काम नहीं कर सकेगी. right? Interviews और assessments के बहुत different तरीके होते हैं. हम different तरीके से interviews और assessments कर सकते हैं. Either we can do one-on-one traditional interviews and assessments, or we could do the group or panel assessments and interviews in a corporate environment. right? दोनों approaches बिल्कुल ठीक हैं और हर company और हर organization की requirement के हिसाब से उनका जिस तरह से setting चल रही होती है company में, जिस तरह से उनकी management prefer करती है, वो या तो group में करते हैं या वो traditional one-on-one interview या assessment के ऊपर भी जा सकते हैं. Then let's talk about how can we prepare for these interviews and assessments. किसी भी interview assessment को conduct करने से पहले it is very important कि the management or the person who is interviewing is prepared for it. And how can we prepare for it? हमारे पास एक proper line of questioning होनी चाहिए. As an HR manager, if I am the person who is conducting an interview, I should be very well prepared on the part where I have all the right questions to ask to the candidate. ठीक है. It is also very necessary कि हम लोग इसकी preparation के लिए we should be reviewing the resumes or the CVs of the candidate. जो भी potential candidate है जिसको हम लोगों ने interview के लिए line up किया हुआ है, ये ज़रूरी है कि हम उनका already पहले जो भी employee profile है उसको अच्छे से हम लोग thoroughly go through कर लें so that हमारी line of questioning उसी तरह से develop हो जाए. ठीक है. After that, it is also very important to create a welcoming and a very professional environment for the interview assessment. जब हम लोग एक interview assessment के लिए किसी भी candidate को बुलाएं तो इसके लिए ज़रूरी है कि हम लोग एक separate room उस असेसमेंट के लिए रखा हुआ हो, ठीक है, सो दैट देयर इज़ नो hassle, देयर इज़ नो डिस्टर्बेंस while we are interviewing the candidate. Then we will talk about conducting effective interviews. How can we conduct effective interviews? सबसे बेहतर तरीका interviews को conduct करने का ये है कि हम लोग open ended questions align करें अपने candidates के लिए, जो भी हमारे potential employees candidates हैं जो हमारे पास interview के लिए आ रहे हैं, उनके लिए हम लोग open ended questions रखें। वो इस वजह से ताकि हमें अपने candidate का thought process समझ में आए। अगर हम लोग उनको ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चंस नहीं देंगे तो हम उनकी थिंकिंग को बिल्कुल लिमिट कर देंगे, विच वी डू नॉट वांट। एज एन एचआर मैनेजर वी नीड टू पुट देम इन सिचुएशंस एंड वी नीड टू गिव देम सिनेरियोज जिसकी वजह से पता चले कि वो इफेक्टिवली किस तरह से डिसीजन मेकिंग ले सकेंगे इन अ कॉर्पोरेट सेटिंग अगर लेटर ऑन वी डिसाइड टू हायर देम। सो इट इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. The key to this is effective listening. It is very important as an HR manager, if I'm interviewing a candidate, I am listening very carefully what the candidate is telling me and what experience he is explaining to me, ताकि जो भी उनके personality की experience की insight है मुझे as an HR manager उसका अच्छे से idea हो जाए. Assessing the employee performance. How to assess an employee performance is a very difficult question because ये एक वो step है which is an ongoing process. This involves clear expectations from the employees. अगर employees को हम लोग clear expectations provide कर देंगे तभी हम लोग उनको assess कर सकते हैं effectively. But this is not something जो एक दफ़ा हो जाए, but this is something जो एक ongoing process चलता रहता है over the period of time. अगर हम लोग उनको regular feedback provide करते रहें और उनकी progress over the period of time evaluate होती रहे, तो this is a more effective thing to do. This can include both formal evaluations and informal check-ins such as weekly meetings or project debriefs. When assessing employees ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हम लोग उनके स्पेसिफिक गोल्स जो भी हम लोगों ने KPIs और मेट्रिसेस उनको डिलीवर ऑलरेडी हम लोगों ने कन्वे कर दिए हैं उसकी बेसिस पे ही उनकी इवैल्यूएशन हो ताकि फेयर इवैल्यूएशन कर सकें एंड नॉट जस्ट ऑन द सब्जेक्टिव इम्प्रेशंस. So this is very important. This was all from my side of why we should conduct interviews and assessments in a corporate setting. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So now I would like to discuss the importance of background checks and reference checks in the hiring process, specifically in the Pakistani context. As HR professionals, it is our duty to ensure that our organization hires the best and the most qualified candidates for each position. To achieve this, we need to have a thorough understanding of each application's qualifications and character, and that's where the background checks and the reference checks come in. Okay, so first let's talk about background checks. In Pakistan, background checks are an essential pre-employment screening process that the employers use to verify the information provided by the job applicant and to assess that the employers and to assess the suitability for the job. The background checks can include a variety of different checks, such as criminal history checks, employment history checks, education verification checks, and much more. These checks are used to verify the information that is provided by the job applicant and to ensure that the information is accurate. And these the other purpose of these checks is to ensure that the employer is hiring a trustworthy and a qualified candidate. However, it is important to note that background checks must be conducted in compliance with all applicable laws and regulations. In Pakistan, the employers must comply with the Privacy Act, Act of 2010 when conducting these background checks. The Privacy Act 2010 requires the employers to obtain a written consent from the applicant before conducting any checks and to ensure that the information that is obtained from these checks is only used for the purpose of employment only. The employers must also be careful not to discriminate against the applicants based on their background check results. One of the most common types of background checks conducted in Pakistan is a criminal history check. In Pakistan, the police maintains the criminal records of the individual, which can be accessed by the employers through a verification process. However, it is very important to note here that the criminal history checks must be conducted carefully and with due diligence. In many cases, the criminal justice system in Pakistan is slow, which can result in delays and errors in the criminal records. The employers must ensure that they are verifying the correct individual and the criminal records are accurate before making any hiring decisions based on the background check results. Now, let's talk about reference checks. Reference checks are another important tool that employers use to assess the applicant's qualification and character. In Pakistan, reference checks involve contacting a candidates listed references to ask them about their previous experience working with the applicants, their strengths and their weaknesses, and their overall job performance. Reference checks can provide a valuable insight into an applicant's work style, personality, and ability to work well with others. In Pakistan, the reference checks are particularly important because of the close knit nature of our society. The networking and personal connection plays a significant role in the job market, and it's not very uncommon for employers to rely on such references from their own personal networks as well. However, it is important to note that the reference checks must still be conducted in compliance with all the applicable laws and the regulations that are provided by the government. The employer must also obtain the applicant's consent to contact their references. Okay, so employers in Pakistan also rely on education and professional references. The education references involve including contacting the applicant's former schools to or universities to verify their education qualifications and credentials, while the professional references typically involves some people that the applicant has worked with before and uh, former employers or ex colleagues basically. So the new employer can contact them and verify their working experience and the job performance from these references. In many cases, the employers in Pakistan also rely on industry specific references. For example, if we are looking in uh, if the candidate is from a marketing background, so they will provide references of individuals they have worked with in the marketing domain. So those such industry specific references and will be used to conduct such industry specific references. It is also important to note that these reference checks are not foolproof and can be subject to bias or manipulation. Some applicants can also provide false or misleading references as well, while others can ask their friends and families to provide their references on their behalf. So, as employers, we must be very diligent and thorough in our reference checks and consider conducting multiple reference checks to ensure that the information obtained is accurate and consistent. To conclude the background check and reference checks topics, let's say that background checks and reference checks are very important tools that employer can use to assess an applicant's qualification and character. The employers must conduct these checks in compliance with all applicable laws and regulations and must be diligent in their approach to ensure that the information obtained is accurate and reliable. By conducting a thorough background check and reference checks, the employers can minimize the risk of hiring unsuitable or unqualified candidates and ensure that they are hiring the best possible candidate for each position.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. The topic I'm going to discuss today is onboarding and orientation in the organization for the new hires. Orientation, मैं बताना चाहती हूँ कि is also a part of formal onboarding experience, which organizations usually plan out करती हैं for their new hires. So later we are going to discuss orientation, but right now we will discuss onboarding. It's a famous saying that you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Now, so onboarding के लिहाज से ये saying is very famous, because अगर आपकी organizations की onboarding अच्छी होगी और फर्स्ट इंप्रेशन न्यू हायर्स पे आप लोगों का अच्छा पड़ेगा, सो दे विल स्टे इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फॉर अ लॉन्गर पीरियड. एज जो रिसेंट सर्वे हुआ है उसमें आया है कि 4% ऑफ न्यू हायर्स लीव जॉब बिकॉज ऑफ द फर्स्ट डिजास्टर्स डे इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, जिसमें कोई लाइक ओरिएंटेशन प्लान नहीं होती, कोई ऑनबोर्डिंग नहीं होती, जिसकी वजह से 22% जो है ना टर्नओवर लॉस होता है कंपनीज को for because of the new hires जो कि hiring के दौरान उनका बजट होता है, then they leave the organization, so like it's totally a budget out for the organization as well. Onboarding is a critical point in the talent life cycle also. So a solid onboarding program not only bridges the gap between candidate experience and employee experience, it acts as a catalyst for employee satisfaction and retention in the organization. Orientation for the new hires typically occurs on the first day at a job, providing an employee with a basic organizational structure they need to navigate their team, their department, know-how, culture किससे उनको inform किया जाता है. Effective new hire orientation communicates company policies, expectations, handles essential paperwork for the new hires. Now we will discuss two types of onboarding, which is formal onboarding and informal onboarding. Formal onboarding जो होती है, it's a process which includes 5 steps for the new hires and the new employees, and in that they will learn their new job description और इसके बारे में उनको know-how होती है with all the steps, their organization, vision, mission, everything. और जो informal onboarding होती है, it's a process for employees in which they learn about new job without an explicit organizational plan. And the steps which included in formal onboarding are pre-arrival, orientation, integration, engagement, feedback, and follow-up from the employees. So pre-onboarding जो होती है is one of the most important and often overlooked steps in pre-boarding. It is an introduction to the full onboarding experience for the new hires, and it not only does it increase new hires excitement, but it also fosters a relationship with them before orientation. So it's a good way कि आप अपनी new hires को know how हो, organization की, department की, culture की थोड़ी सी उनको एक awareness हो आपकी organization के बारे में. So before your new employees step foot into your office, do your homework and make them feel valued and welcome. So आपकी जो प्री ऑनबोर्डिंग होती है वो न्यू हायर से जितनी अच्छी कंफर्टेबल होगी, तो थोड़ी सी जो ओल्ड एम्प्लॉयज हैं वो पेपर वर्क कर लें, थोड़ा सा न्यू हायर्स को फील वैल्यू करवाएं, उनको वेलकम करें और engage them before orientation, like थोड़ी सी know how में. So it's a great way to communicate and how excited they are for them to join their organization and how excited आप लोग हैं उनको अपनी organization में welcome करने के लिए. So then there comes orientation. So formal orientation program helps new employees understand many important aspects of their jobs and organizations, including the company's culture, values, its goals, histories, and its power structure. Organization may use tools include discussions, lectures, videotapes, and written material for the new hires to know about your organization. Then there comes integration. Integration is a program which serves a social role, helping the newcomers feel welcome by introducing them to their co-workers and other individuals within the organization. Orientation, which may last a few hours, in a few months can provide new employees with valuable information and the chance to process a lot of paperwork. So और इंटीग्रेशन में ये होता है कि जो आपके ओल्ड एम्प्लॉयज़ होते हैं उनसे आपकी न्यू हायर्स की नो हाउ होती है और लाइक डिपार्टमेंट की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन स्ट्रक्चर की मैनेजमेंट की इन सब की नो हाउ होती है एंड दे फील वैल्यूड एज वेल एज दे नो कि मतलब उनको पता है आपकी कंपनी के बारे में ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के बारे में सो इंटीग्रेशन इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट process in formal onboarding. Then there comes engagement. Engagement of current employees is extremely valuable for successful new employee onboarding because stakeholders can help newcomers manage and meet expectations. Stakeholders include those involved in hiring, training, HR, normal coaching, and support. They can influence new hires by not only sharing information but also serving as role models. They can teach new employees about the organization, offices, advisors within the job description and provide their support and role in that. So engagement is also very important, like integration engagement as well is very crucial for onboarding. So जो न्यू हायर्स होते हैं उनसे नो हाउ लाइक डिपार्टमेंट नो हाउ डिविजन्स आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की टॉप मैनेजमेंट के बारे में नो हाउ सो as well as it's good for you, it's good for the new hires also. और उनको भी अच्छी एक फीलिंग होती है वैल्यूएबल फीलिंग होती है दे वांट टू वर्क इन योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन then very important step in onboarding is feedback and follow up which usually many companies didn't do but it's a very important step in the onboarding process which in which new employees makes missteps and may find it challenging to understand and interpret positive or negative reactions they receive from co-workers. This means they will need they will often need the follow-up and guidance. In this regard, this session may help them adjust their work with questions, aspects of their jobs, company procedures and priorities. So उनसे भी आप follow up लें and उनको भी अपना feedback दें and also take their feedback as well for your organization. So it's a whole process which includes these steps. So formal onboarding nowadays is very important, especially after COVID. Because organizations में आपको पता है new hires के लिए first day and the first few months are very important for the new hires. Then very important aspect in onboarding is the 4 C's which include compliance, clarification, culture and connection. So compliance explains the lowest level and includes teaching employees basic legal and policy related information about the organization and the regulations. जो है ना जो उनको करनी होती है compliance करनी होती है then clarification it refers to ensuring employees understand their new jobs and the job description clarification उनको job description their job role ये सब बताया जाता है which they needed to know. Then there comes culture. It is a broad category that includes providing employees with a sense of organizational norms both formal and informal and it's a broad category so it includes many things. Later new hires will eventually know the culture of organization but few months you have to develop a good culture in front of them or it's better कि अगर अच्छा culture हो and they know in which work environment they are working. Then connection, it refers to the vital interpersonal relationships and formation networks that new employees must establish. In the end, I want to say that create a positive onboarding experience facilitates the new employee's ability to contribute the new role, as well as it increases the new employee's comfort level in the new job, reinforces their decision to join the organization, enhances productivity and encourages commitment and employee engagement. So ये कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो कि onboarding के लिए काफ़ी ज़रूरी होती हैं which creates a positive ambience and positive onboarding experience for the employees. So it's very important. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. मेरा टॉपिक है ethical and legal considerations in hiring and selection process. So these processes are important in the hiring as these factor affects the company's reputation and company's future. First of all, I will be discussing legal considerations. So first of all, legal considerations में हमें पाकिस्तान के कुछ laws हैं जो हमें follow करने होते हैं. First है anti discrimination law, second है चाइल्ड एम्प्लॉयमेंट लॉ. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं डिस्कस करूँगा एंटी डिस्क्रिमिनेशन लॉ। जो हमारा मुल्क का आयन है, ये लॉ है, वो ये बताता है कि वी हैव टू प्रोवाइड इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ टू एवरीवन regarding to your gender, race, their backgrounds, their political beliefs or other factors. इसमें हमारे मुल्क का जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है वो इंश्योर कर रहा है कि इफ़ अ पर्सन बिलोंगिंग फ्रॉम अ मेट्रोपॉलिटन सिटी और अ पर्सन बिलोंगिंग फ्रॉम अ इंटीरियर रूरल सिटी हैव बिन गिवन इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटीज़, इसमें यह भी इंश्योर किया गया है कि एक बायस्ड बन जाता है रिगार्डिंग सर्टेन कम्युनिटीज़ कि इन कम्युनिटीज़ को जॉब बहुत मुश्किल से मिलती है एंड इन कम्युनिटीज़ को जॉब बहुत मुश्किल से मिलती है। तो लीगल हमारे जो मुल्क का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है वो ये जो चीज़ें हो रही हैं इनसे हमें मना करता है। जो हमारा मुल्क का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है वो इंश्योर करता है कि इफ़ अ वुमन एंड मैन एंड फीमेल इज़ ऑन अ सेम पोस्ट, वो इंश्योर करता है कि दे बोथ आर पेड वेल रिगार्डिंग एनी अनजस्टिफिकेशन ऑन जेंडर, or if there are people who are employed from different communities, they all are paid equally. They all are paid and hired on their qualification rather than their family background or their political beliefs or the ethnicity. In previous days there were some misconceptions, and no, it was not misconceptions. There were some laws that black peoples are the slaves and white peoples are the supremacy. So इसमें ये था कि जो white people थे वो black peoples को एज स्लेव चला रहे थे। ये एक किस्म की हमारी जो मॉडर्न सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस है उनको जस्टिफाई थोड़ा थोड़ा करता है, क्योंकि जैसे हमारी सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस में हमारे जो मुल्क का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है वो इंश्योर करता है कि अगर एक इंटीरियर का लड़का उसको इंटरव्यू देने जाता है और एक कराची का लड़का ए लेवल का बच्चा बर्गर बच्चा वो इंटरव्यू देने जा रहा है, सो उनके साथ एक फेयर इंटरव्यू हो, उसके इंश्योर करने के लिए हमें इंश्योर करना होगा कि जो इंटरव्यू कमेटी बैठती है वो जो बनी हुई हो वो फ्रॉम डिफरेंट बैकग्राउंड डिफरेंट एथनिसिटी हो, क्योंकि उनके जो पर्सपेक्टिव्स होंगे सबके चेंज होंगे। हर किसी का पर्सपेक्टिव अगर सेम होगा तो वो एक बायस्ड इंटरव्यू बन जाएगा। क्योंकि अगर समझो मैं एक सिंधी हूँ और मेरा इंटरव्यू एक सिंधी है, सो और एक दूसरा इंटरव्यू है जो मुहाजिर लड़का है, सो हम दोनों के बिलीफ्स, मेरे और इंटरव्यू के बिलीफ सेम होंगे और उसके बिलीफ सेम नहीं होंगे, तो हमारा जो इंटरव्यूअर होगा वो रिगार्डिंग देयर क्वालिफिकेशंस वो मुझे जॉब देगा। इसीलिए एक अनबायस्ड और एक फेयर इंटरव्यू के लिए ये हमारे मुल्क ने कंसिडरेशन की हुई लीगल कंसिडरेशन में एंटी डिस्क्रिमिनेशन लॉ लगाया हुआ है, जिसमें हमें इंश्योर किया जाता है कि एक फेयर ट्रायल होगा। उसके बाद होते हैं एंटी चाइल्ड एम्प्लॉयमेंट लॉस। उसमें ये हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ने किया हुआ है कि उसमें एनी चाइल्ड कैन नॉट बी एम्प्लॉयड इफ़ ही इज़ लेस देन 16 years old एंड इज़ बिकॉज वो मेंटली कैपेबल नहीं होते इतना स्ट्रेस हायर करने के लिए। हमारा जो मुल्क का आइन है वो हमें हुक्म देता है कि हमें सर्टेन एजेस के ऊपर हमें हायरिंग करनी है। इफ़ वी हायर अ चाइल्ड लेस देन 14, हमारा जो काम लीगल हो जाएगा। हमारी फर्म्स को लीगल एक्शन फॉलो करने होते हैं। उसके बाद आ जाते हैं एथिकल कंसिडरेशंस। एथिकल कंसिडरेशंस में भी जो लीगल कंसिडरेशन के कुछ फैक्टर्स आ जाते हैं, उसमें हो जाता है कि एथिकल बैकग्राउंड, पॉलिटिकल बिलीफ, जेंडर, रेस आ जाती है। हमें अगर एथिकल बैकग्राउंड में हमें ये कंसिडर वो करना है कि रिगार्डिंग टू द रेस और जेंडर हमें उनको इक्वल ट्रीट करना है। उसमें ये होता है कि हमें ट्रांसपेरेंसी रखनी होती है कि इंटरव्यू प्रोसेस में भी और सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस में कि हमारे जो कैंडिडेट्स होते हैं उनको पता हो कि हमारा जो सिलेक्शन क्राइटेरिया है वो क्या है। हमारे सिलेक्शन क्राइटेरिया ट्रांसपेरेंट होना चाहिए और जो हमारी इंटरव्यूइंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ होनी चाहिए वो सबके लिए सेम होनी चाहिए। जो हमारा एक सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस होता है वो हर कम्युनिटी के लिए सही हो, क्योंकि अगर हमारा एक सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस है वो एक कम्युनिटी के लिए बिल्कुल सही है, लेकिन अदर कम्युनिटी के लिए वो बहुत डिफिकल्ट हो जाएगा ड्यू टू देयर बैकग्राउंड्स। सो एक बायस्ड, अनबायस्ड और एक फेयर सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस के लिए हमें इंश्योर करना होगा कि हम एक ईजी टू अप्लाई, ईजी टू डू इंटरव्यू, हमारा जो हमारे जो पोर्टल्स हैं, हमारी जो कम्युनिकेशंस नेटवर्क्स हैं, वो सबके लिए फेयर हों। इसके लिए हमें इंश्योर करना होगा कि हमें एक लीगल और एथिकल कंसिडरेशंस को फॉलो करना होगा। सो कंक्लूजन में मैं ये बताना चाहूँगा कि हमारी जो मुल्क की पाकिस्तान की फर्म्स हैं वो लीगल और एथिकल कंसिडरेशंस को फॉलो करें, क्योंकि अगर हम मिनिमम तो हमें लीगल कंसिडरेशन फॉलो करनी होती है। इसका अगर लीगल कंसिडरेशन हम फॉलो नहीं करेंगे तो वो काइंड ऑफ इलीगल हो जाएगा, वो दैट कैन डेप्यूटाइज आवर फर्म। और एथिकल कंसिडरेशंस में हमें जो मैंने नोटेड एथिकल कंसिडरेशंस बोली थी हमें फॉलो करनी है, क्योंकि एथिकल कंसिडरेशंस अगर फॉलो नहीं होंगी इट कैन कॉज द एम्प्लॉयज़ टू बी डिमोटिवेटेड, और डिमोटिवेशन की वजह से द रिज़ाइनिंग रेशो विल बी हाई, और वो हमारी कंपनी के लिए एक बैड रेपुटेशन बन जाएगी। मैं कुछ एग्जांपल्स देना चाहूँगा रिगार्डिंग एथिकल एंड लीगल कंसिडरेशन में, एथिकल कंसिडरेशंस की जो आजकल हमारी हो रही हैं। जैसे कि मैं लिंक्डइन पे या इंडीड पे बहुत सारी मैं देखता हूँ एड्स देखता हूँ कि फॉर मेमन कम्युनिटी ओनली, वो काइंड ऑफ उनके पर्सपेक्टिव से सही होता है बट लीगल कंसिडरेशन में नहीं आता ये, क्योंकि वो जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी स्पेसिफिक कम्युनिटी को है, वो सही नहीं होता। जैसे इन सिंधी गवर्नमेंट जॉब इंटरव्यूज़, उसमें सिर्फ ये बायस्ड होते हैं कि वो सिर्फ सिंधी को लेते हैं, उसमें कोटा होता है, ये करप्शन होती है, ये सबको पता है। सो ये भी एक इलीगल आ जाता है और एथिकल कंसिडरेशन में भी नहीं होता, इसका ये इशू होता है। और बस मैं इसी कंक्लूड करना चाहूँगा कि ये फैक्टर्स कि अगर फॉलो करेंगे तो हमारे हायरिंग फैक्टर्स को।
Hi guys, how are you? This is Muhammad Adnan and today I am going to present about diversity, equity and inclusion. Diversity, equity and inclusion, these are three closely linked values held by many organizations that are working to be supportive of different group of individuals, including people of different race, ethnicities, religions, genders and different sex orientation. Diverse, equitable, and inclusive companies are closely knows better able to respond to challenge with top talent and meet the need of different customer bases. With diversity, equitable, inclusive mind, companies are considered how to better support companies where the past few years many organizations have taken stride to build diversity, equity and inclusion into their policies and hiring practice. What exactly is diversity and inclusion? Diversity is a fact, inclusion is a behavior. Guys, when I'm talking about diversity means it means making a consciousness effort to diversify your organization at all level, including employees from traditionally underrepresented background. These include well-known demographic categories such as man, woman, gender identity, religions, etc. Now the next is equity. Equity refer to fair treatment from all people so that the norms, practice and policies in your place ensure identity is not predictive of opportunities or workplace outcomes. Equity differ from equality in subtle but important way. While equality assume that all people should be treated the same, equity takes into consideration a person's unique circumstances, adjusted treatment according to that. The end result is equal. When about talking inclusion, while diversity focus on the variety of identities with your organization, inclusion focus on creating a culture where all employees feel welcome and respected. Without inclusion, your organization will not be able to fully benefit from the diversity in workplace. Inclusion in a leadership, when I'm talking, it's listen before leading, encouraging employees to speak up, create a safe environment from open and respectful communication, openly discuss the value of diversity and diversity of thoughts in achieving team goal. Benefits of a diverse and inclusive workplace basically different points. Diverse employees bring creative solution, attract and retain the best talent. Mirror diverse consumer base, market shares, innovations, and different relevance in changes. What are the other benefits that can organization realize from inclusion and diversity? First one is winning talent. Organization that monitor the demographic profile of their workforce are better able to retain top performers while making sure that diverse talent is not lost. Second is improving the quality of a decision making. Diversity bring multiple perspective of the table during times when enhanced problem solving skills and vision are needed. Third one is increasing customer insight and innovation. Diverse teams are typically more innovative and better at anticipating shift. Fourth one is diverting employee motivation and satisfaction. Now, the last is improving a company's global image and license to operate. Companies that can maintain or increase their focus on inclusion and diversity during crisis are poised to avoid consequences such as struggling to attract talent or losing customer and government support. Diversity and inclusion drive growth. Simple diverse thinking style 66% more innovation. Inclusive leaders 45% more likely to report market share growth. Motivated teams 2 times employee engagement. Stronger performer Fortune 500 companies with diverse leadership. Experience higher, innovation, market share growth, return on investment, employee engagement, 2 times valuations. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.